Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to multiply fractions. So let's say that you have 2/3 times 4/5. Now, the way to multiply a fraction is fairly simple. All you have to do is multiply the top number with the top number and the bottom number with the bottom number, which means we're going to do 2 times 4, which is 8. Top with top stays on top, bottom with bottom stays on the bottom. So 3 times 5 is 15. Now let's look at another example here. Let's say that you have 3/4, 3 over 4, times 14 over 15. Now again, your instinct here would be to multiply top with top, then bottom with bottom. Now unfortunately, by doing this here, you will make the problem a little bit harder. Why is that? Let's think about it. First, you're gonna have to go on the side and do 14 times 3 if you don't know exactly what it is. So 3 times 4 is 12, carry a 1, 3 times 1 is 1, plus 3 is 4. Gives me 42. Then you're gonna have to do 4 times 15 on the side. 4 times 5 is 20, carry a 2, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, which is 60. Then unfortunately, you're going to have to reduce that fraction. Again, any fraction that you can reduce, you make sure that you reduce it. So these two numbers here, 42 and 60, they are even. So that means we can reduce it by 2. That means we can divide each one of them by 2. Then you're going to have to go on the side again and make sure that you do 42 divided by 2, which is going to give you 21. And then 60, cut it in half, gives you 30. Then check if you can reduce it again. And here, if you remember the tricks about divisibility, this one we can divide it by 3. And this one we can divide it by 3 as well. Because 21 divided by 3 give us 7. And 30 divided by 3 give us 10. And there's nothing we can divide these two numbers by. And that would have been your final answer. Now, it is not advised to do this problem like that. How would you do it? Before you even multiply the top number of the top number here and the bottom number of the bottom number here, it is advised to reduce the problem first before you multiply. So what do I mean by this? First, you're going to look at this fraction here. Check if you can reduce it. And you're going to look at this fraction, and you're going to check if you can reduce it as well. Here, obviously, if you practice enough, we cannot reduce this fraction. And this one also, we cannot reduce it. Even if you can't reduce it, the rule about reducing has nothing to do with that fraction here in that box. It has nothing to do with that fraction in that box. When you're reducing, all you care about is reducing a number on top with a number on the bottom. They don't have to be in the same column like this here. One number can be all the way here, and then the other number can be all the way there. As long as it's one number on top with another number on the bottom. If you realize that you can reduce it, you should go ahead and reduce it. So let's look at 3 and 15. Can we reduce it? Yes, I can divide 3 by 3, and I can divide 15 as well by 3. So because that's what reducing is. Divide the two numbers by the same number. So if I divide this by 3, I get a 1 left. If I divide this by 3, I get 5 left. Again, what about 4 and 14? Again, it doesn't matter where they are, as long as it's one number on top with a number on the bottom. Now, can I reduce the 14 and the 4? Yes. 14 is even, 4 is even, therefore I can reduce it. If I divide it, even number, we can divide it by 2. So if I divide 14 by 2, what would I have left? 7. If I divide 4 by 2, what would I have left? 2. So now I have a new fraction. Instead of 3 over 4 from the beginning, I have 1 over 2 left here. 1 on top and then 2 on the bottom. And instead of 14 over 15, I have 7 over 5 left here. 7 over 5. And in this case, if you try, no matter what you do, there's no way you can reduce it. And when you realize that happened, you can just go ahead and multiply top with top and bottom with bottom. So 1 times 7 is 7. 2 times 5 is 10. So we're getting the exact same answer that we got here, but in a simpler way and easier way. So it is advised for you to do this method here. Let's look at another problem. So let's say that you have 9 over 20 times 33 over 35. And again, before you multiply right away, top with top, bottom with bottom, check if you can reduce this fraction by itself and this fraction by itself. Again, reducing is dividing the two numbers by a common number. Like here, There's no way I can reduce this. If I try to divide the 9 by 3, I cannot divide 20 by 3 also, because 3 doesn't go into 20 evenly. But this fraction, we cannot reduce it no matter what you do. This one as well, I cannot reduce it. So whenever that happens, instead of trying to reduce the 9 and the 20, try to reduce the 9 and the 35. Let me just go across. Try to do the 9 with the 35 instead. Now again, I cannot reduce the 9 and the 35. There's no number I can think of where I can divide the 9 by that number and 35 by that same number. Or try to reduce the 33 with the 20. Now again, 33 and 20, there's no number I can think of that I can divide 33 by and 20 by as well. Now, whenever that happens, you only have one choice left. You just have to go ahead and do the problem. Just multiply the top number of the top number and the bottom number of the bottom number. So you're going to go on the side and do 33 times 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Carry a 2. 9 times 3 is 27 plus 2 is 29. So you have 297. And then 20 times 35. So you go on the side. 35 times 20. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. Remember, when you're multiplying, when you get to the next number, you do not write anything here. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry a 1. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. Bring down the 0. Bring down the 0. And this is 700. And here's the trick to do that problem. Whenever you have a number that ends with a bunch of zeros, forget about the 0. So that means instead of doing 35 times 20, me personally, I probably would have done 35 times 2 instead. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry a 1. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Now remember that I forgot about the 0? Well, I'm going to bring it back in my final answer, 700. So you see, same answer, 700 here. Now here's the trick here. If I wasn't able to reduce here, and I wasn't able to reduce the fraction here, that means my final answer, no matter how big it looks, I know for a fact that I will never be able to reduce it. So this is my final answer. Let's look at a last example here. But I said that you have 14 over 9 times 12 over 7. Again, you might be tempted to multiply the top of the top first and then the bottom of the bottom. Again, try to reduce first. Check if you can reduce the 14 and the 9 and the 12 with the 7. In this case, we can't. Make sure you practice your reducing. In this case, we can't reduce this fraction and we can't reduce that fraction. So, if we can't reduce it, we have to look for another possibility here. So instead of trying to reduce the 14 with the 9, I'm going to try to reduce the 14 with the 7. 14 with 7. And in this case, I can reduce it. Why? Because there's a number, which is 7, that I can divide this number by and divide 14 by as well. So when I do 7 divided by 7, I get 1. And when I do 14 divided by 7, I get 2. And here also, I can reduce the 9 and the 12. By what number? By 3. So when I divide 9 by 3, I get 3. And when I divide 12 by 3, I get 4. So I have a new fraction, which is now 2 over 3 times 4 over 1. So now I can multiply top of top, bottom of bottom. So 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. Now, whenever you have that type of fraction, again, most people do not like to see these fractions like this, where you have the top number is larger than the bottom. So again, make sure that you remember to change it into a mixed number, like they call it. How do we do that? Is by going on the side and divide. Again, remember which one goes inside. The top goes inside, and the bottom goes outside of the box. So 8 goes inside here, and the 3 goes outside here. So how many times 3 goes into 8? Twice. 2 times 3 is 6. Take away. 8 minus 6 is 2. So remember that how a mixed number looks like. A number looks in front here, a number on top here, and a number on the bottom here. What was the number in the bottom here? 3. What number is going to be here also? 3. Same number. Now, what goes on top? And what goes in front? This one always goes in front. The number here, the one that goes in front here. And your remainder is the one that always goes in the back here. So your final answer is 2/3. So thanks for watching and make sure you practice. Bye.